because I just want to make sure that we're all at least reasonably close to being able to do this. So we're going to write two equations, a sine equation and a cosine equation for that curve. All right? Now we've discussed this and discussed this. Between the two equations, everything will stay the same except this, right? So let's figure out where's the midline. 1? So we know this is going to be plus 1. Well, if the midline's at 1, what's my amplitude? 2. So we know this is going to be 2. Now in some cases, you might make one of those negative or something, right? But the number is going to be 2. Now, what's the period of this curve? Whether it's a sine or cosine is irrelevant. Peak to peak or valley to valley or whatever is going to be the same for this. So what is it? What is the period? Well, what's this point back here? Can you figure that out? Negative pi over 13. Okay. Everything's evenly spaced. So negative, here's the point right here. Negative pi over 13, there's a hill and a valley stopping at 7 pi over 13. That's a period. So what is the period? 8 pi over 13. So 8 pi over 13 equals 2 pi divided by b. This. So 8 pi b equals 26 pi. So it looks like b is 13 fourths. Always reduce your fractions. Right, does anybody have a question about any of those numbers? Those three numbers are the same.
So you're basically just finding the distance between negative pi over 13 or 2, 7 pi over 3, and then you just sort of set it equal to 2 pi over 3.
Yes, because that's the period. One hill and one valley is a period. Then it draws another period after that.
But you don't subtract, or you're not subtracting to find the distance, are you?
Well, what's 7 pi minus negative 1 pi? 8 pi. I don't personally do that. I can go from negative 1 to 7. That's a distance of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, it's a subtraction. It's a distance. Okay, now, if this is a sine curve, where do sines start? Sines start on the midline. So could I start my sine curve right here? That would make the most sense to me. And if I started it there, then what goes in here? Pi over 13. And in fact, it's x plus pi over 13 because the phase shift is actually negative pi over 13. Now, that was a point, I think, of confusion for some of you on your homework. Yes, Mrs. Mills?
Can I talk to Anna real quick?
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Yep.
Okay.
If the question says, what's C? Well, I didn't write down before I had the equation, but you know where it says x plus C? If it says, what's C? C is pi over 13. But if it says, what is the phase shift? Then the phase shift is negative pi over 13. See the distinction? So if some of the questions said, what's C? Okay, that would be the number that goes in the blank right there, pi over 13. All right, now, what if it's a cosine curve? Well, if it's a cosine curve, then we are going to start up here, top of the hill, maximum. On occasion, you might start at the minimum, but that wouldn't make any sense. It would then be negative, but that wouldn't make any sense in this problem. We'll just start up there. So then what goes in the parentheses here? X what? Minus pi over 13, because a negative C actually means a positive phase shift. Okay, got it?
Thank you.
Okay, oh, you're welcome, Mrs. Miller. Now, I want somebody to ask me a homework question about the homework that I just turned back. I'm only gonna do one. And then, I wanna encourage you to start checking your answers to make sure you've got some kind of a handle on this. Okay,
I
Sandra,
spoke with the class and we decided on 6.
you guys decided on 6. So it's a group discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And then
we have, in number 6, we have a maximum at negative pi over 10, 8. So here's our maximum. And we have a minimum at pi over 2, negative 1. So whatever it looks like, it's something like that. That's the top of the hill, that's the bottom of the valley, and this was negative. Okay? And we are finding just, it's a sign, for number 6, it's a sign. So we are finding just the actual constants, the actual numbers. Okay? So, here we go. What's the midline? If the min is at negative 1 and the max is at 8, what is the midline? 3.5? Guys, midline, middle, average. How do you find an average? You add and divide by 2. So 8 and negative 1 is 7. So our midline is at 3.5. Now, can you check your work? 100%. How far is it from negative 1 to 3.5? 4.5? How far is it from 3.5 to 8? 4.5? It has to be the same, right? So you can check your work if you're not sure of your arithmetic. Okay, so that is D. Would everybody agree D is gonna be 3.5? Now, if that's 3.5 and the maximum is at 8, then what is my amplitude? What's my A value? 4.5. Okay, now, how far is it from the max, horizontally, from the maximum to the minimum? How far is it from negative pi over 10 to 5 pi over 10? How far is that? 6 pi over 10? Now, max to min is half the period. So if that's 6/10, then the whole period must be 12/10. So the period is 12/10, which I'm gonna go ahead and make that 6/5. That's my period. And that is 2 pi divided by d. So it looks like B is 5/3. Does that look okay to everybody? Now, this is a sine curve. So if it's a sine curve, it needs to start here if it's negative, or here if it's positive, or here if it's positive, right? Any of those places. A sine curve could start at any of these places. Now, I don't have any of the labels, so I don't know any of them. So let's start over here, just for the sake of argument. We'll start over there. I need to figure out what that coordinate is. Well, I know we figured out that the whole half the period was 6/10. So won't a fourth of the period be 3/10? So if I start here and back up 3/10, because that's a fourth of the period, then that would put me at -4/10 or -2π/5. So one option is for my C to be 2π/5. Notice it would be positive because I backed it up. Right? Now, another option would be to start it here, and then it would have to be a negative A value if you started there. Just for practice, what would that be? Well, isn't that gonna be halfway between -1 and 5? What's halfway between -1 and 5? 2. Now, if you started, that'd be 2/10, that'd be 1/5. If you started there, then you would have a -4.5, and what would your C value be? -π/5, because it reflects a shift to the right. Okay, see that? Now, the next problem, same picture, same everything, but it was a cosine. Well, that's easier because isn't your phase shift just gonna be -π/10 for a cosine curve?
If you did the other point, it would be -4π/5.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing, 3/10 of H? Yeah, 10.
Wait, so the cosine C would be.
Everything would be the same, except it would be, this would be x plus π/10. It's just right up there.
So C would be π/10, and the question said, what is the phase shift? And it would be π/10. So the phase shift is like, it's kind of like all
Opposites, yes, the phase shift is the actual picture. All right, time for our quiz. If you are still struggling with that, you need to get in and get some help. All right? No calculator. Here we go. This will not take very long. That divider actually does hold it.
That's what it's supposed to be divided to.
You did see this plan check? Oh, I don't know. With the little